What is up, everybody? Tyler here with TCG University for the card game UniVersus, and today I'm going to be showing you my Void Reptile deck that I played for this week's Symbol Showdown Campish Championship. This was a tournament where we all got to pick a symbol, and nobody else was able to play under that symbol, and I picked Void, and I picked Reptile, and I had a lot of fun. So if you want to go check that out, there will be a playlist for it called Symbol Showdown on our channel. Please go. We had a lot of fun playing it, but who cares about that? Let's jump into the profile. Alright, so first off, let's talk about what Reptile wants to do. So he's all about having mid attacks in your hand, showing them off to your opponent, and your opponent being like, dang, you had mid attacks in your hand, so they discard a card. And then he gives a bunch of damage to mid attacks, and he makes sure that on your opponent's turn, all their high and low attacks get minus damage. That's the basic gist of it. Under Void, it's all about making sure your opponent has 0 hand size, so you can hit them with these big mid attacks and just kill them. To start off, though, I'm playing it a little bit weird, and I'm playing a sort of stacker reptile. I have 2 reptiles inside of the deck, and that is because I think the card Rose Signet is very good. So Rogue Signet says that as long as you have 2 character cards in your characters in your staging area, you get to play this for free by flipping, and you flip it after it resolves. So what ends up happening is that you can be like, well, I'll play this Rogue Signet. I have 2 mid blocks in my hand, 2 mid attacks in my hand. My opponent has 3 cards in their hand. Well, I'll discard him. I'll discard 1 with Rose Signet. They now have 2 cards in their hand. I'll just play it again. I'll play it as a form. I'll discard that second card in their hand. Now I got a little bit more value by not having a whole lot of attacks. The biggest problem in Reptile is that, like, you have to make sure that you have 3, 4, 5 attacks in your hand to, like, fully utilize his discard ability. And this says you get to do 1 discard for free. And +2 damage with another +1, +3 damage, it's pretty alright. It's a lot of damage for when they have 0 cards in their hand, which is the goal. Along with that, a great card for Reptile is McCobb Skewer. This is perfect for the deck. It says remove 1 card from your hand, your opponent picks an attack and they add it to your hand. Picks an attack from your discard pile and they add it to your hand. You'll see later, we're playing 1 non-mid attack, but it's a real good non-mid attack. So when you play this, they're always going to add a mid attack to your hand, which means that you just get to discard a card for free. Like I said on the Rose Signet, your biggest problem is making sure that you have a bunch of attacks in your hand to get full utility out of the discard ability on this character. This is just a free attack, and if they pick up a weapon attack, which there's a few of in the deck, you get to give +2 to your next check. It's not bad at all. And then it's just an amazing lead-off card. So it's 4 damage and +2 damage to the next one. It makes sure that your opponent discards some cards. It is great. Along with that, Whip Assault is insane in this deck. It is a 6-speed attack, and it has 6 damage, but that doesn't matter because it actually has 9 damage. Oh, wait, it has 14 damage because all you got to do is discard, because combo enhance +4 damage. You play 2 attacks before it, and then you kill them with this. It's easy as that. It's a combo with an attack and an attack, so like it's actually not a combo at all. It's just playing the 3rd attack in your turn, and it's killing your opponent no matter what. It is a 2-check, which sucks a little bit, but it's a weapon, which is great with McCobb Skewer. If it's the only attack in your discard pile, your opponent hates to see it because it means that they're dead that turn. And it's a little bit more discard, if you need it. There's not a whole lot of things in this deck that use momentum, so why not get rid of an extra card in their hand? They're going to be holding them to make sure that they can discard them all with the Reptile ability and still be able to block. So say no to that. It's anti-Reptile in your attacks. It's amazing. Next, Force Ball. Again, making sure that you get a bunch of mid attacks into your hand. Combo with a mid attack. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Get whatever mid attacks you discard this way. It's awesome to just discard 3 and be like, oh, cool, I'm just dead this turn. Awesome. And then after you've discarded all the cards from their hand, being able to be like, yeah, I'll give this -2 speed +2 damage. Who cares? You're not blocking it. It's impossible. You don't have any cards in your hand. It's a bunch of damage. It's really good. Along with the making sure that I have my second character card in, we're playing Affliction. This just says that I can probably get my second character card to make sure that Rose Signet goes off. And on top of that, again, I'm not using my momentum for a whole lot of things. So discard one momentum, reveal the top card of my deck, and draw or discard a momentum, draw a card, reveal a card, draw another card is great. It's perfect. Draw 2 on this, and it's like it's 5 damage base, not 2 damage because of what Reptile likes to do. So it's pretty all right, you know. It's not as bad as it might be in other decks. We're playing 2 Acid Spit. It's a little bit extra discard, you know. It's a little bit extra draw. It's not amazing. There's a reason why I only put it at a 2 of in the deck, because it's just a little bit extra to get you there, you know. I put it in to make sure that I had a comfortable number of attacks for Reptile. You know, that's it. It's just all right. The last one though is a Downward Spiral. It's not a mid attack, you'll notice, and you might say, "Hey Tyler, why are you playing not a mid attack? That's not what Reptile wants to do." Well, guess what? It doesn't matter, because you still get to discard a card as long as this is in your card pool and it's plus like 11 damage base. You know, that's insane. You get to make sure that your opponent has no hand, give this 1,000,000 damage, and then, you know, just pop off. They can't do anything about it. This card is amazing, but it's a 2 check. It's not a blind block. That's why it's only at a 2 of in the deck. It might be good enough to be a 4 of. I don't know. I would require some testing, but I think it's an amazing card. There's all of our attacks. Let's now move on to our actions. We're not playing any assets in the deck, but we are playing a few actions. The first one we'll talk about is Spell Circle. You don't use momentum for a whole lot in this deck, but when you do have it, being able to get it whenever you want is pretty alright. Discarding an extra card if need be is also really good. It's just a little bit extra. This is the type of card where it's just a 1 of in the deck, and there's no reason why you wouldn't play it under any of these symbols, especially the Void one, because it has a Void enhance. That's just why it's in the deck. It's just an easy throw in, you know. It's constant momentum generation for whenever you need it. It's just an easy card. And then the Toro Brothers, also a very easy card to play. Saying that my opponent doesn't get to do anything to combat me because they don't have any hand, so they can't block anything, so they have to rely on their foundations. Well, Toro Brothers says, no, you don't get to rely on your foundations, because I'm going to destroy all of them, or I'm going to destroy whatever you try to do against me with this card. This card is just like unfair. I don't like this card, but it is so good that there's no reason why I would not play it in the deck. You know, and like drawing into a mid attack is all right when you need it, and you know, just like discarding it is also viable. It's an amazing card. It's unfair. Next, we're going to move on to the foundations. This first group of foundations, I'm considering it's not aggressive, but it's not defensive, and it kind of just does whatever group of foundations. The first one we're going to talk about is Esoteric Yoga. Now, I didn't want to put this in my aggressive, or I wanted to put it in my aggressive group, because it says that if my opponent tries to do anything by drawing cards to combat my discard, I say, no, after you draw a card, you're actually going to discard a card, so you didn't get to draw anything. But I also wanted to put it in defensive because it says destroy -4 speed, which is like needed sometimes, you know? So it's a little bit of both. That's why we're talking about it first. The exact same thing with Mother Russia. It says R commit after your opponent adds something to their hand. No, they actually added it to their card pool. You're not allowed to keep cards in your hand against Reptile. Deal with it. It also says return something to printed speed. It is speed hate while being committed, exactly like Esoteric Yoga, and it also says commit to make sure that they don't have cards in their hand. These are the same exact card, except for this is a higher block modifier, but a lower difficulty, but a lower check, and this is a real good check, but it has a real high difficulty, you know, and it's also unique. So they're the exact same thing. Well, this is also unique too, but you know, they're the exact same thing, just a little different, but you know. Profane Sanctuary. It's a 2 of. Its discard ability is the top 2 cards of both players' decks isn't extremely relevant. There's few situations where it's like actually needed, and the flip to cancel a breaker is also like not extremely relevant, but it is awesome spam. And there are its situations where it's viable. The exact same thing with Uniting Rebels. Sometimes you just get smacked up. So Desperation, be able to gain a little bit of vitality back, be able to stay a little bit ahead, not die as quickly is great. You're reducing damage, so keeping that number, keeping their attacks damage low and gaining vitality is alright. And a 0/6, amazing. It's awesome spam. Great for playing out long strings of attack. So that's all of our not really defensive, not really aggressive foundations. Next, we're going to move on to they're just aggressive foundations. We're playing the 3 Dragon Goddess. This says that every single attack besides, what's it called? Downward Spiral gets +1 speed. And sometimes you get to make your opponent discard a mid block that they are holding in their hand and draw a card and hope that it's not a mid block, because then you'll get to smack them up for a bunch. That's just about it. It is extra speed for if they are able to play around the fact that you're discarding their cards. If they just hold a whole bunch of attack things in their hand so that they can block with, you get to say, well, I'm going to make it a little bit harder to do that while also discarding cards from your hand. It's that extra little bit at the end that you need. Outworld Eris. I put this in aggressive because it's both. It's aggressive and defensive. Probably should have put it in another pile, but whatever. Getting rid of a problem foundation is great. Saying, hey, I'm going to add this foundation to your hand and then reveal 2 mid attacks to discard that foundation just means you debuilt them 1. Awesome. Totally a cool thing to do. It's not a cool thing to do. It's a jerk move, but it's what you got to do in Void. Void is all about being a nasty, mean person. Next, Voice of Reason. Again, saying like, well, I don't have as many attacks in my hand as I need. I'm going to have us both discard a card, draw a card. Cool. Now I'm going to make you discard the card that you just drew. This is great because it gets you advantage and you don't care what they draw because you're about to discard it anyways. So it's just a little bit extra. That's why I put it in aggressive. The exact same thing with the, what's it called? I always forget all the names. Dragon Goddess. Inhuman Speed, commit, give plus speed, when they play around your discard ability, saying, well, I'm not using my momentum for a whole ton, so it's very easy to get 3 momentum. This attack gets +3 speed. These first few attacks are going to hit you because you can't block them, and by the end of the chain, you're not going to have any cards in your hand, so it won't matter. Those are our aggressive foundations. Now on to defensive foundations. Wear Light. Saying flip, turn off an attack is great. Wear Light is, I think at this point, a pretty known staple under these 3 symbols. It is just an amazing card. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I was going to say something about the other ability, but that doesn't really matter. Does it matter? No, it's your attack. It doesn't matter. All right. I have never read the second ability on Wear Light because as far as I'm concerned, it's blank. It's flip, turn off an attack. That's what it's used for. Next, Telekinetic Mastery. Your opponent buffing all their attacks to make sure that they kill you fast enough so that you can't kill them. This just says they don't get to. Again, this is pretty much a staple in the symbols. It's a good card. I know some people might not think that, but being able to decide whether or not an attack has speed or damage so that you can either block it or just not take any damage, especially in Reptile that reduces damage, it's all right. It's a good defensive piece. So is Face of a Monster. Being able to say, well, after you play something, I'll lose 1 vitality, be able to block it. It's great. Deadlock, being able to discard cards from your opponent's hand for free is also amazing. If they just decide to build into Deadlock because they can't do anything else, you don't get any cards in your hand. Guarantee. And then changing a zone of attack to make sure that you block and not take any damage is also great. Again, it's like a staple. Same with Venomous. your opponent not being able to add cards to their hand is exactly what you need. Reptile says they don't get to have cards in their hand. If they do anything to say that they do get to have cards in their hand, you get to say, no, you don't get to have cards in your hand. I'm playing Void. I do what I want. Conquest of Terror. It is, again, a staple foundation. It's a bunch of minus speed. Sometimes it's plus speed when you really, really need it to kill them at a later point in the game. But minus speed is what it is usually used for, or what I usually use it for, to make sure that I can block whatever I want. Again, it is a staple foundation. It's super easy to build. It's got a good block. Everything about it's great. Same with Fei. All these defensive pieces are what I would just consider staples. You know, flip -3 speed is amazing. You don't lose out on a whole lot. You got to make sure that you block what you need to block. You got to keep yourself alive a little bit longer to just kill them next turn. It's perfect. And there you have it, folks. That was my Void Reptile deck that I made for this week's Symbol Showdown Campish Championship. If you want to see the deck in action, please go check out the playlist that we have for Symbol Showdown on our channel. You'll get to see all the decks that we played. They were a lot of fun to play. I had a blast. And I liked it. That's all I have to say about it. If you like this video, please comment, subscribe to the channel if you want to, or you can just simply leave a like. It is the easiest way for you to help us out, and it means a whole ton. It gets us recommended everywhere, and it's just a simple one click away. It is insanely appreciated. We just love it. We love it. We love you for doing it. But with that, thank you all for watching this video, and have a wonderful night.